just when you have 4 kids that are young, you just dream about patios with margaritas, like, because it's just not my reality right now.
Or in my case, another pour of
Coffee.
French press, 50-ounce. Sweaty 50-ouncer.
He will drink that all in the next hour.
Probably.
True story. Way too much coffee.
I wouldn't say so. It's in my genetics.
It's in your veins, pretty much.
Basically, I think it's the Scandinavian part of me. It's just like we're known to drink coffee. I remember drinking coffee with my Omi at like 9 years old.
We found out that Josiah, our 6-year-old, when mom's got her back turned, all the kids told on him and said he swigs mom's coffee like crazy. We're in the phase of life where getting up early and there's no coffee grinds requires me to go into the garage to grind them so I don't wake up any children. So we are just getting set here as you're coming on board. We like to banter and have fun. Life is fun. You have to make it fun. So feel free to join in with our banter. We love seeing you on camera. You know, we're living in a day and age where people are craving some face-to-face communication and they might not be able to get it outside of like getting it on here on Zoom. So feel free to come on face-to-face. It just increases the ability to communicate, you know, trying to communicate with someone without having all of the visuals and all of that really changes it. And we're going to advocate for that as well. If you're going to meet people on Facebook, if you're going to grow your business on Facebook, you need to learn how to humanize the process. You need to learn how to take a click and turn it into something, you know, as Marcus says, raw, real, and relatable. So that video just helps us bridge that gap a bit. So
yeah, I got to give credit. I can't say it as I say it, it's as my wife says.
Oh, there you go.
If I take that from her, she's going to be mad. She was in television before, so she's like, you stole that from me. I'm like, yeah. Well, it's so good. It's true.
The best form of, they say, imitation is the best form of flattery.
It's true. All right.
So
well,
we're 3 minutes in.
Go for it.
Let's go. So we are going to use someone's account. So if you have an account connected, a StreetText account connected to your Facebook page, we are going to use someone's as a demo. So is there anybody that's in that trial phase, has something connected? Jen, do you have something? Nope, you're just checking it out. If not, we'll find something else.
Sorry.
And I have Brandy coming on too. So she's just maybe late. She wanted her account to be used. So we have a couple accounts we can use.
Okay, so you can look into that as we get going.
Yeah.
But basically, this webinar is for an overview of StreetText. You know, people that come to this either are considering starting a trial with StreetText. They might have started a trial with StreetText. We connected to your Facebook page and you thought, I don't want to do that yet. I don't know you. So I want to learn some more stuff first. Or some people jump right in, they launch an ad, they see leads come in and they're thinking like, now what? What's the next step? So we're going to give you a big view of this, but know that each person that comes in on a trial gets a coach. So you're either going to have Marcus, myself, or Troy, or Logan. I don't see him on here yet. The 4 of us are your coach. We'll be connected to you and we'll help you kind of personally apply this to your account. So don't ever feel like if any of this goes over your head, yes, we move quickly through setting stuff up, but we're going to get you connected with resources so you can learn how to do this. Okay, we're living in something called the attention economy. People's attention fish have actually grown to less than a goldfish. So how do you learn to capture people's attention, keep people's attention, start conversation with new people? I'm now standing in a Starbucks line 6 foot from my neighbor with a mask on my face. And relationship is about conversation. So a lot of people have found that they have been enjoying the fact that they can create relationship during these times using Facebook ads. If you're going to meet new people on Facebook, you're going to have to use the Facebook Ads Manager. Has anybody used the Facebook Ads Manager before? Yeah. Yes. We like to, you don't look excited about it. We like to say the Facebook Ads Manager is the labyrinth of frustration and confusion.
Yes.
we were talking about like the whole margarita thing. If you ever need a margarita, it's after trying to navigate yourself through launching an ad on the Facebook labyrinth of frustration. You might actually figure it out, spend hours of doing it only to get a disapproval from Facebook or not even know whether it's working or not. So we want to make it so that you can actually use the Facebook Ads Manager, you know, being the master of your own Facebook ads instead of having to slough it off into someone else, but not have it being so time consuming and frustrating that it takes away from the most important business building parts of your businesses. So we built StreetText. It's basically log into our dashboard, launch our already built templates that we know work, that have funnels and communications already connected to them. So no building funnels, no building ads. It's already built, it's already done. So you launch the template. A lot of our templates have a 60 to 67% click to contact ratio. That means 60 to 67% of people who are clicking on the ad are actually leaving you some form of contact. Industry standard is anywhere between 2 and 5%. So we know that the templates work. Here's the most important thing you're going to learn on this webinar. To land on really good results and to see what's capable in your market, you're going to want to set up a split test. And a split test has everything to do with two things. One, making sure that you're using the templates to speak to the 15-mile radius that Facebook requires us to work with. So when you launch an ad in a housing category, is everyone aware of the 15-mile radius? Facebook requires you to work within a 15-mile radius. So we need to make sure our language and our imaging is speaking to as many people as possible. And that ties into the second thing you need to learn, and that's all about audience. Facebook is watching your audience's reaction very closely within the first 24 hours of launching an ad, particularly the first 500 people that see it. So we want to increase our engagement on that ad in that first 24 hours, because what that means is we're going to get favoritism from Facebook. They're going to give us a low cost per click. We're going to hone in on audiences that continue to click and lead us lead information. So one, build your ad so the most people in that 15-mile radius click on it. We'll show you how to do that. Two, Facebook randomly picks your audience when you launch an ad. So you don't want to be at the mercy of one randomized pick by Facebook. So we're going to talk about something that a lot of people glance over. They don't realize it's happening, and they keep changing the creative of their ad. They keep changing the image. They keep changing where they drop the pin, not realizing that Facebook is changing the audience every time. And it could just be you're landing on the wrong audience. So we're going to talk about how you set up an ad within 24 hours and find out what ad is getting you the best results. And then on the other end of this, relationship is built on communication. So we're going to show you when someone clicks on the ad, particularly our sellers template, we're going to show as an example here today. But as someone clicks on our ad, what does it look like on their end? What are they receiving from you? What are they expecting from you? And how you position yourself as the expert and how you serve that person and how you make it relatable means everything on the other end of it. And the cool thing is you don't have to guess at it. We're going to introduce you to our community and resources who have been doing this for ages, and they're sharing everything they're doing. So we don't want to get you the lead, but we also want to show you how to best follow up with the lead as well, which is the most important part of this equation. If the lead comes in and you don't learn how to follow up with them, there's not going to be the transaction at the other end of it. You got to build that relationship. So let's jump into, I saw Brandy did get on here. So you want to pull up her account, we'll jump into hers and show you all that stuff.
Yeah, and the fun thing about Brandy's account is that she actually has the split test set up. So she probably went and watched a demo recording and got it set up herself. But I always like to start here. And we're going to go straight into the experience of the lead so you know exactly what's happening. And then we'll go in and show you how to build it. Because if you know exactly what's happening on Facebook, you'll get a clear understanding of what you need to do to personify that autoresponder as far as the email drip is concerned and an SMS feature that we have, and how to brand you. Because obviously you want leads, but if those leads are going straight to wherever they're going and you don't know what you should be doing to follow up, when you're going to get quite overwhelmed fast. So here's a typical ad experience. And this is outside of looks like Baltimore. And the key is for everybody here, and now in Canada too, we're all having to deal with this. Everybody on Facebook has to consider 15 miles as an influence. So even if you were like, hey, I want to go after Owen Mills or Towson or any of these small neighborhoods, at the end of the day, it doesn't serve you to put that on the ad as a descriptor. You got to start thinking about 15 miles as the influence that you want to create. So what does that mean? Well, we naturally have found a way to tap into that. Number one, you start with pin dropping. That means simply figure out where the address or zip code that would be most central for you. And then we want to draw a 15-mile circle around that. Again, I'll say that. Go after Owen Mills or Towson or any of these small neighborhoods. I'm going to just mute you there. Sorry, Jen. So 15 miles, okay? Drop the address in the most central location. Sometimes it's the address itself that I think is the best way to do this, and we'll show you what to look at. And then think about 15 miles, and then we're going to actually zoom out on an image that really speaks to that 15 miles. And the actual map, you know, despite what you all think as far as real estate marketing is concerned, has not been touched in this industry as far as great results. I haven't seen something compare with it. Even when we're actually translating this into other ads and funnels, we always go back to the map and it just crushes it. So when Ira was talking about the 60 to 70% click to contact ratio, it's because the moment I click on this ad, and this ad is saying, if someone were to buy your home, would you sell it, find its value in the current market? What we've done is we've replaced the idea of Owen Springs or Townsend or Baltimore or Elliott City, and we threw in some home emojis there, because the home emojis draw the eye up. And for this person, you got to remember, if you start scrolling down your Facebook right now on your smartphone, that's where they're getting this. You're seeing this for a demo presentation, and right, you're seeing like I can have my chat messenger and stuff pulled up. They wouldn't be seeing anything other than what they see in their feed on their Facebook, on their mobile phones, on their Android and their iPhone. So kind of think of the experience for a mobile friendly experience. And so when you're scrolling down your feed, you know, it's like blah, 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 politics, sports, whatever, people, family photos, boom, this ad hits them and right in that feed. And then click, they go for, it's called interruption-based marketing. So you have to do something that really feels familiar. And nothing's more familiar than a map that you see every single day, right? You're using Google Map application, you're using your iPhone application for map to go places. It just doesn't feel like the typical real estate language. That's why you get such high click to contact ratios. Now, the moment they click on that ad and they go into the experience, this is the first landing page. Now notice the click to contact congruency. Again, I'll say that, notice the click to contact congruency. The image stays the same. We're not trying to pull out all your information at one time. If we were, you would not get the same lead flow here. And there's a reason we do this. It's a dynamic lead capture funnel. It is a system that StreetText has developed more than 5 years ago, and it's just amazing. Now, here's where you kind of start having to recognize that as soon as I click on analyze my property, we're asking for the address, because of course that's what they want to find the value for. And so when I submit my address, it's making it really easy from someone's perspective of their thumbs. It's starting to populate all the Glen Ridges that I'm about to put in, and just makes it super easy. So if they don't have to finish the full typing, they just go there, analyze their property, and then bam, that's automatically going into Brandy's dashboard. So if I go to her contacts right now, you can see that there's contacts layering in here, but there's also an address only section. And that's where that address just came in. Now, don't think that these addresses are just tire kickers. Trust me, like there's a million scenarios that can be happening in their world that would prevent them from going forward. And it's not always intentional. So we'll talk about some great strategies for those. But the next part of this is where it really gets fun, because the email submission has to be not only provided, they have to click on email permission to move forward. Because if I click next without getting email permission, it doesn't prevent them from moving forward. So they have to give you, the realtor, permission to contact them by email. And the moment they do that, that automatically shoots out an email drip campaign from StreetText. So what you need to know is, if I refresh my screen right now, I just became a contact. And with that, there's a full-on drip email campaign that begins starting with this one address submission quick question. So all you need to know is that this is automatically sending to them. It's basically saying, hi, I just want to let you know that I received your Facebook request for the property valuation of 133 Glenridge, and I'm on it. Are there any updates or renovations that I should be aware of? Now, I'm not going to spend too much time telling you what you should do there, but I'll be honest with you. The moment you start submitting about your own self in that automated place with a video autoresponder, maybe changing up the email signature a little bit, I mean, it absolutely dominates your ability to create a conversation, because it's now you controlling the scenario, setting up expectations, letting them know it's a real person, connecting with them on that value. And so no matter what happens, it's almost as if, knock, knock, we're digitally door knocking on the Facebook world. Guess who, right? We're here to help. And that's the key, is you want to personify that area, because that's where you begin the conversation with them, and you don't want them to misinterpret that process. But we'll expand upon that in a little bit here. Now, heading back into the funnel, this is where you find out more about the home, the condition of the home, time frame for selling. They can provide anything, like it's a drop-down menu. So it could say, hey, it's good, needs a bit of work, needs a lot of work, age updates, 10 years old. They don't have to put anything in here, but if you start getting people who submit information, it's obviously, it's very interactive. So it's a person you want to follow up with quite fast. And then sell date. And don't put a lot of weight here, because just curious is often a defense mechanism. More often than not, it's definitely a defense mechanism, because again, you just interrupted their newsfeed with a value add. So the key is, how do you connect with that person to actually discover what's underneath that just curious? And just because they say immediately, you really don't know until you have the conversation. Everything, you want to treat every single lead the same, regardless of how much information you got. Now, as soon as I click next here, this is where you have an opportunity to kind of brand yourself a little bit more. Now, in the case of Brandy, great picture. There's a couple things that she can do to actually customize this experience, because after all, this is where the phone number would be collected. So in your dashboard, there's a little settings feature. And that settings, if you go to profile, right here, it's this little gear up there on the top. I recommend doing this from your desktop always. You just go to profile and you submit a slogan. Now, Brandon, you can do whatever you like in terms of a slogan. I'm just going to put your friendly neighborhood expert, and when you get back to your computer, just update that to be something that is a tagline that you would have, marketing tagline. It's just, a few words that just is your brand, your tagline, your slogan. Don't worry about a bio here. I would update your website and your privacy policy URL. Well, actually, don't worry about your privacy policy. We'll work with you on that. The website would be the only thing I would change right now. Click save. And then the last thing I would look at for everybody here is, if you go to your Facebook pages and click reviews, you have a couple good ones. Now, here's the thing. You could put whatever you want here. This looks like, I'm just going to put a couple of things in it. You can change this out when you want to. But now that I go to this experience and I've updated that, not only it pulls in a Facebook review, pulls in your slogan, and then in this case, as soon as I put my number in, this begins the SMS scenario, which is your speed to lead component. And it'll automatically send me a text message within 3 minutes. And it's going to sit in this tab in your dashboard called Conversations. And the conversations, what happens is they're going to get an automatic text, and it's just going to say, hey, Marcus, this is Julie. I work with Brandy. So Julie's your autoresponder. She's your kind of assistant. I see you're interested in your home value. Is there anything specific about your home that may affect its value, i.e. updates? So that would begin the entire process, just so you're aware of. Now, we're going to switch into, okay, that's what they're going to see. Not only how do we customize that experience, but first and foremost, how do we generate a lot of those leads? And how do we maximize Facebook's performance and algorithm? So it's not just addresses, we're tapping into full contacts. And that in itself, I'll kind of, I'll present that to you, Logan, and talking about the split test, and essentially how to use StreetText right now to set up these ads so that within the first 500 people reached, within the first 24 hours, we're fully tapping into the Facebook experience we want to have.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I would say the most important thing to understand here is the Facebook algorithms. So if you take nothing else from this meeting, I really hope it's understanding how and why Facebook works in the way that it does. Now, one of the most important things to understand is that Facebook needs to determine how relevant your ad is going to be. after it's reached, the majority of your audience. So you've done you dropped your pin, you've done a 15-mile radius, let's say. Now, are there more than 500 people that live in that area? First question you got to ask yourself. Most likely, yes. We're talking thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people within your targeted area. Now, Facebook needs to decide as a whole, how relevant will this ad be? So what they're going to do is they're going to test the first 500 people within that area. And however that test audience, that group of individuals, however they react to your ad, tells Facebook how good this ad will be long-term, thus being able to charge you a cost per click. Facebook needs to decide how much to charge you in terms of a cost per click in order to, obviously for them to make money, but also in order to kind of get this ad going. And Facebook will also really rely on the first 500 impressions to dictate your lookalike audience. As soon as somebody takes positive action, a click, a like, a share, a comment, Facebook says, okay, this is the kind of person that this ad is best suited for. So I'm going to keep showing people of a similar profile type. So what we've identified as being one of the most important things to do is never rely on one ad. If you rely on one ad, really what you're doing is relying on 500 random people. So even though that is the case, you'll always rely on essentially, 500 random people. The best thing to do is build 3 ads. 3 ads that are perfectly identical in every way that you're able to control, limiting the amount of variables. Now, if everybody's familiar with the scientific method, the idea generally is limit your variables, and keep your consistence consistent, right? So the idea here is that the 5 variables on Facebook are your ad image, your ad copy, your ad target, and your daily ad spend. The 5th and final variable is the Facebook test audience. The first 500 people, Facebook randomly shows your ad to. So if you build 3 ads that are perfectly identical in those first 4 ways, limiting that final variable, what you've really done is you've built an ad with the best specifications possible, the best opportunities to win, and then you're playing a game now, allowing Facebook to start delivering your ad and finding which one was the most appropriate initial audience, which you can't control. 3 ads, perfectly identical in every single way. You wait 24 hours. 24 hours or $10 of ad spend on any ad is almost always enough to reach your first 500. So after you run these 3 ads for 24 hours, you can wake up in the morning, reach out to your coach and say, hey, I'm about to turn 2 of these ads off. Do you mind helping us decide, which ones to keep going and which to turn off? We'll be able to look at it in a heartbeat, be able to tell you which one's your best based on cost per click, cost per lead, cost per email, but also lead quality, right? Based on what you're looking for specifically. So again, in a nutshell, 3 ads, perfectly identical, 24 hours, pick your one winner, which should be the most relevant of all 3 ads, leave it running, hopefully for weeks, if not months at a time before any changes need to be made.
Yeah, I'll give the example because Brandy has her 3 ad split test in there. So I'll show you what that even looks like. And then how to set it up, because ultimately we're not wanting you to set up an ad or 3 ads and spend $27 every single day. That's not the case. You only do that long enough to determine if there's a clear forerunner. Okay. And so for the example that Brandy has, like if you look at all these ads, here she's got $41 spent, 16 addresses, 7 emails, $1.73 a click. This one, 23 leads at $1.82, 9 emails. Very similar, but this one's a little bit better in terms of more leads, because what I like to always look at is what's my click to contact ratio? 16 to 24 here, 23 out of 30. That's pretty high. I like this one so far. And then this one's got 15 out of 21. Again, they almost look so much similar that you'd have to actually take some time to start analyzing the actual data. And this is where it becomes something you have to dig into, because as these leads come in, they all have a source ad ID next to them. So if you have like clear ads that are all like, I don't know which one's best, well, then you're probably going to start thinking, well, how many are giving me the most phone numbers with the most information in the areas I actually prefer within that 15 miles. So as you start scrolling down, you recognize, okay, this one with 33 is in Baltimore, 21230. This one with 33 has a phone number. I'm liking that, 33 again, and so forth. You kind of start analyzing all your leads. And at that point, you want to determine, okay, which one do I want to move forward with? Which one's the clear forerunner? And then pause the other ones. And the easiest way is to pause them is not from your Facebook ad manager, as we talked about, it gets confusing in there. It's simply just to turn this little green button off. And that automatically stops that ad. And then you let the best ad win. Any questions on that? I mean, and first and foremost, as we go and just show you how to build this, we actually don't want you to build it yourself. Like, good job on, you know, in this case, Brianna or Brandy doing this herself, because that was awesome. She took the training, but we want to work with you on creating and setting this up properly for you, because that's what really happens to Facebook. And then ultimately, we want to also work with you on analyzing those ads and picking the forerunner, and then shifting into conversion training, which is all about setting up your automations, emails, SMS to really go after it and create conversations. We'll stop right here before we move forward, just so this gives you guys an opportunity to ask questions and really kind of, there's a lot going on here, obviously. So feel free to unmute yourself. And obviously we want to meet with you one-on-one too. So don't be shy. This is a great opportunity to ask any question that comes to mind. You can use your unmute button here. I have a lot of questions, not sure what to ask, a lot of info. That's okay, you can start with any one question, and feel free to unmute yourself, or you'll meet with your coach, because every one of you does have a coach. It's gonna be Logan, Troy, Ira, or myself. And so we wanna meet with you one-on-one anyhow, and just kind of dig in deep to your own personal questions. Make sure this is a fit for you, but any questions are good questions. And we also want you to recognize, like, we have an entire community that we want to introduce you to, starting with our Facebook group, the StreetText Insider Group. And then we have some free training and resources we'd like to really help you with.
On the landing pages, can you set them up to require them to put in their email address and a phone number?
I'll go ahead and take that. And this is Ron, is that correct?
That's correct.
Hey, Ron. You can do all sorts of different things, more recommended for way later down the road. Biggest mistake you could possibly make, in my opinion, though, is starting to make different fields a requirement, understanding that the click to contact ratio is one of the most important things here, and you're paying per click. You don't pay per lead, per phone number, per email submitted, nothing like that. You're paying on the Facebook level. As soon as somebody actions your ad and clicks on it, you have paid as much as you're ever going to pay for that opportunity. We've got things broken down in our system to then show you how much you've spent total, and then divide that, you know, with the leads and everything. So it gives you a cost per lead, cost per email, but you're paying for that opportunity, period. And we've done a ton of research on, you know, how, you know, psychology, you know, obviously how the brain works and how things work with this system. And what we found, as soon as you make information mandatory, what happens is you don't get more information, you actually get less, and you get fake information. I would rather no phone number than a fake phone number, because if I have only a physical address submitted, no email, no phone number, I know that I need to do something, either, I mean, door knocking, fair enough. Not everybody loves door knocking. We have multiple other suggestions, but mailers, there's so many good things you can do to convince that individual to give you legit information. Whereas if I say you need to put in your email, oftentimes they won't even put in their physical address, meaning I've lost. I haven't gained anything. So over time, after trial, yeah, there's things we can start to do if that's really what you're looking for, to customize your forms and things like that. But I can honestly tell you that the smartest thing to do is just to allow the clients to kind of put in what they're willing to put in, work with that, and follow along with our community, with all of our other strategies to go after address only leads better, to go after people who've given you just their email, go after them in a specific way. And when somebody gives you all their information willingly, that's a really good sign that they're ready to talk to you, and you're not chasing fake phone numbers, which is, in my opinion, incredibly frustrating.
Okay, so
100%. And
you recommend using Facebook leads then, right? Leads ads.
You know, and I actually quite like the Facebook lead forms for its own reasons. I do find that the leads we get through our forms, like the way that we do things, I do find the lead quality to be a little bit better. Through the Facebook lead ads, there's definitely some benefit to that. You will get some fake information. That's the downside of lead forms. because it's pulling in Facebook's information. Whatever Facebook knows of the individual is getting automatically inputted. So there's some opportunities when you're using Facebook lead forms, and this is more of an advanced conversation, obviously, if anybody's not aware of the difference between landing pages and lead forms. But yeah, there's definitely some downside to using the Facebook lead ad formula, but there's also some benefits. And that's for another conversation where we can definitely meet with you guys one-on-one and really figure out what you're looking for. Because again, that's the most important thing here is we've got some blanket, processes that we like to use, but understanding what you guys are looking for individually will really help us, set things up appropriately for you.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And here's the thing, I want you guys to totally know we are here for you. I mean, you're on this first demo meeting, but we want you to experience all of our classes and courses. And so just so you know, if for some reason your trial expires at any point, you will always have access to this. You can always sit on any one of these meetings, and I recommend you do, especially knowing, okay, if you're generating leads, you definitely want to convert them. So I would pop into one of the conversion workshops Tuesdays or Thursdays. We'll put this link in the chat feature here. And our StreetText Mastermind. That's the one meeting, if you're truly trying to gauge if StreetText is a fit for you, I would highly recommend you try to come to it. Because it's not just us here all in trial talking about how to set this up. You're actually getting to meet some of our members that have been with us for years. And we invite everybody in our StreetText community to come to this, and you really get a good understanding of who's winning, who's really doing well, who's converting their leads, what they're using as scripts and strategies, integrations, and how they're really beginning to create conversations that last, especially with some of these leads who may not be ready for 3 months, 6 months, even a year, because that's the top of the funnel. And then we want to gift you with a course that shows you how to embed video inside of these autoresponders, some of our best scripts and strategies, how to customize the experience. This is all for you. They're done in such a way that are really easy. You don't have to go through the whole thing, but you can go straight to, hey, I want to go to add in an email signature today. Here's a quick little tutorial on that, right? Or I want to really focus on this script that got Jessica 5 listing appointments in 1 week. What is it? Well, here it is, right? We also want to invite you into our community. So you can see what people are talking about in the community, how they're running with it. We have a great announcement section that kind of gives you the top posts recently, what ads people are running to really get great results. And this is yours. We want to actually invite you into it. But before we do all this, we want to connect with you. We really feel it's important that you get to know us as your coach. And we want to give you a proper onboarding and making sure this is a fit for you. So the best thing you could take away from this meeting is say, I need to meet with my coach. We need to do a one-on-one meeting. And even before you do that, I would start considering what Troy's about to show you is how to build your ads with your coach. And we're going to show you how to set this up, given the 15-mile minimum radius. And we're going to help you do that. We're going to help you get 3 ads set up for 24 hours so you can tap into Facebook performance. Sound good? So it's Troy, why don't you go into actually how to set up an ad. And again, don't worry about setting this up for yourself, guys. We're going to just show you really quickly what we do and where you even begin to do this.
Yeah, so you come into the funnel section here and you're going to have 3 funnels available to you, a seller, a buyer, and a listing funnel. We're going to focus in on this listing funnel here. We're just going to go in and we're going to hit select. And here is where you can set up the imagery and the copy, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to skip this step. And we really want to understand the targeting because that's the most important piece, that 15 miles minimum. You can do more, but you first want to understand what that targeting actually looks like and then align your imagery and your copy with it. So Marcus is going to select drop a pin. And then in here, you want to consider an address that would be central to where you're willing to go 15 miles in any given direction. All right, so we're going to use Baltimore here. And if we were to drop the pin right in Baltimore, right there, maybe Marcus zoom in a little bit so we can see. There we go. That's that 15 miles that it's going to cover. Now, if you look at that and you're like, well, it's not quite where I want to go, you can move this pin, right? You could drag it wherever you like. If there's a body of water nearby, just like here, you could actually drag it a little bit out into the water. And that actually is a little bit of a hack, especially for those of you who live kind of oceanside, where you can actually drop the pin a little bit further out in the water, fish don't click. It's going to narrow your targeting. Well, once you've actually set up where that pin is going to be dropped, always take note of all the communities that are being covered in there. So we've got Townsend on the very top north there, and then we're almost in Annapolis in the very south there. So we want to make sure that when we go in and set up our imagery, that the imagery is actually going to show all of those communities in there. Because it's going to be the same as if I look at a group photo, who's the first person you're going to look for? Right? It's usually yourself. Same as when I'm looking at a map of an area that's local, first place I'm probably going to look for is where I live. If I don't see where I live in the ad, then I'm probably just going to scroll on by, right? We want to stop that scroll. So once you're happy with the pin drop, Marcus is just going to hit the little square box in the right corner. We're going to close that down. We're going to hit done. It's going to set the coordinates. We're going to go back now and set up the imagery. So he's going to put Baltimore in here. And then we're going to manipulate this map, zoom in, zoom out, so that it matches up with that targeting. So if we zoom in too close, of course, we're going to lose, let's say that town there, Townsend. If we zoom too far out, well, then we're going to lose detail. So we just kind of want to find that sweet spot where it really covers the area that we're targeting. You can also set this map up to be a satellite version or the map version. The map version typically is a little bit clearer. Or if you live in an area where there is terrain, you can turn some terrain on. All right, so we're going to stick with the map version right now. And then when you go to set up your copy, usually it says city and or neighborhood in there. So if I was to put in Baltimore, if somebody wanted to buy your Baltimore home and I saw that, I'd be like, well, I live in Townsend. I don't live in Baltimore. So this isn't relevant to me. I'm going to scroll on by. We want to stop that scroll, right? We want to make it relevant, but we also want to draw your eyes up from the image and into the copy. So what Marcus is going to do, he's going to head over to emojipedia.org. He's already searched for a house emoji. He's going to copy that and then place it into the ad. And what we find is 3 house emojis actually works really, really well. So now you can see that my eyes are being drawn up into that copy. And that copy still works for all of those different areas. So once I have that set up, I'm just going to go hit next. And we've already dropped our pin, so we're going to hit next again. We default to a daily budget of $9 a day. That's a good place to get started. Right? That's going to have the best reach per day. And then once you understand your lead flow, you can actually adjust that accordingly. You have the option to also launch to Instagram, but typically, because that's a younger audience, they don't have a home to sell. So on the seller side, I would stick to Facebook. And then you can put in your estimated commission. That just helps us to calculate the ROI on your ads performance. So what is the maximum you could pay to acquire an email? So after this, all you have to do is hit deploy, and it's going to build out the landing pages, the automated text messages, the automated emails. And that's the best practice as far as launching these ads. And then as Marcus has done here, he's gone into the ad section. This is where you can check in on your ads performance. You can pause the ads, and you can even view the ad and all that sort of stuff.
Yep. And you can update the ad budget if you want to change that once you kind of get a good taste for what the ad budget is doing for you. This is where you turn things on or off. This is if you want to actually set your any given, I think, commission on something like this in this area will help you identify if you're in the green, because we want to get you in the green. Green means you're getting really good lead flow. Yellow means, it's doing okay. Red probably means you want to pause. So let's make sure we keep these ads in the green, kind of like what Brandy has all 3 of these ads in the green right now. Now for Brandy and I, we're going to really go into discovering which one of those is really pulling in the most quality information. Phone numbers, obviously, in the areas she prefers, in the neighborhoods she prefers. And then, yeah, that's kind of the 10,000 foot view. Everything else, I think you'll get a little bit more of by having a one-on-one with your coach and kind of us welcoming you into the community, into our StreetText Insider group, into a few other workshops, and definitely the Academy course. Any questions on that?
I'm just going to jump in here because Nan was asking about, can my 50 miles overlap with another agent who uses StreetText? As long as you stay on top of good ad performance and your ads running and leads are coming in, those leads are unique to you. They're not going to anyone else. So just manage your ads well. Keep an eye on them. Once you land on something good, there's a couple rules, like don't turn the ad off for longer than 3 days and don't aggressively change the budget. Some people's ads will last for months. Some people's ads will last for years. So it's really about always keeping an eye on that ad. If you notice your leads start to trickle, then go in and do your split test again. Land on something good. And then the other end of the equation is you get to control how you follow up with that person. So going in and personalizing the messages and, you know, making a good first impression, you know, following through on that follow-up process is what's going to define you and make you stand out for everybody.
Yeah, let me show you an example of that. So, you know, here I am randomly scrolling down my Facebook. I see an ad of somewhere to buy your home. Would you sell it? Find its value in the current market. I put in my address and an email, and then maybe I get busy and I don't put in the other information. But I go to my inbox, and this is the first thing I see. Okay, and I'm like, whoa, this is a person, real person connecting with me. She looks really friendly. She's smiling. I haven't even met her yet, right? That's a big part of what body language can do for video, right? This is called a GIF. This is called BombBomb. And when you throw in the BombBomb component of this, it immediately humanizes the process. I haven't even clicked open on this, but 20 seconds is easy to watch. But I clearly can see that this is a real person connecting with me. And more importantly, she's looking to meet me on Facebook, which is an awesome opportunity to connect on Facebook. And we'll talk more about that later. But if I'm getting a high number of email submissions, I need this in here. This is going to change the game. This is going to immediately separate you from your competition. So when you start thinking about, well, who else is doing this in my market? Forget about that. We have 15 agents in a local market of 100,000 all doing great, but only a few of those are actually doing this type of follow-up. And this will automatically separate you because now you're creating a one-on-one. And so if I actually clicked on Wendy's video here, here's a fun little example of what you can even do here.
Hi, I'm Wendy with LV Sweet Homes Realty. I got your request for the home price valuation and I am on it. I also attached a link below
And I'm going to tell her she's going to need to update
to my
this video.
Facebook profile, and we'll be sending you a quick friend request very soon. I just want to make sure that you have a chance to meet me. Well, I hope to talk to you soon. Have a great day.
So that's it. I mean, 20 seconds, she introduced herself. I mean, it's different. You know, it's fun. And I think at the end of the day, we want to also help you with that, because if we can get you to imagine this as if you were digitally door knocking, right? Knock, knock, who's there? I'm here to help you. I think that's going to immediately create an opportunity to have a lot more conversations. And that's just one of many scripts. You don't even have to pick that one, but we just want you to introduce yourself, and we want to show you how. Cool.
And that's using BombBomb.
Yeah, that's BombBomb, but you can use other solutions. There's Dub, there's Videolicious, there's you know, even YouTube and Vimeo you could kind of create in that experience. But I find that probably where I've seen the last 5 years, the most successful agents are using probably either BombBomb or Dub as a solution there. And they both offer free trials if you've never used them before. Cool. All right. Ira, why don't you take it away and kind of help people see beyond the trial, where would they even go? What would they look to subscribing with if they move forward?
Yeah, so if you don't have a trial set up, just go to StreetText.com, set it up. You'll get assigned a coach. If you don't know who your coach is, just message any messages from StreetText. Are you my coach? Who's my coach? They'll let you know who your coach is and get you a link. Most people just send us the address. So just send us that address where you want to drop the pin, and we'll set up that split test for you. That way you don't make the mistake of, like, we see pins drop sometimes and the map is like all of North America. And the person's like, I don't know what I did, but I did it wrong. So we'll get you set up properly and then get you the resources to learn how to do it yourself. And then you can set up a follow-up appointment with your coach to review that and get you connected to all of our resources. When you're working on social media, long-term mindset wins. This is all about multiplying your effort over time and layering your process and learning from our community. So we're real advocates for pushing for our long-term membership plan, and we offer you more value there because we know that's where the mindset of success lies. So when you log into your welcome dashboard, you'll see there's a little, all the way down at the bottom, if you scroll down, there's a little ready to sign up button, and all of our options are there. So our 1-year membership is $19.20. That covers the cost of our platform for the entire year. And then it renews on month 13 at $160 a month to month after that. Our 6 month is $1,020. It renews month to month at the end of 6 months at $170 a month. And then the 3 month is $600, renews month to month at $200 after that. The reason you want to get good ad performance during your trial is because you want to see, like, what does $9 a day look like for me in my market? Your coach will help you establish that. Like, possibly what we'll do is say, hey, you've landed on something good, or hey, none of these are good. I'll turn them all off. Let's split test again. So we want to make sure you land on good ad performance so you can see what their budget on Facebook is going to look like, because you want to factor that into your costs for the year. Tons of other templates here that Marcus was scrolling through that you can use beyond trial. Custom templates, buyers to seller campaigns. Our listing lead ad does phenomenally well. And then there's tons of different automations we want you to get your fingerprints on. People like Donna Swansea, she's done 200 plus deals with StreetText. She shares her process in a course. We give you that course for free if you sign up for the 1 year. But I'd like to point out to a lot of people, Donna Swansea didn't really get her first transaction until month 5. So if she committed like to the 3 months and didn't define a process and made a decision after 3 months, she wouldn't have followed it through to be where she is right now. She's defined her process, and she also really worked with those address onlys, which is something a lot of us are quick to dismiss. So there's always someone in our community to disprove our kind of like, oh, maybe this isn't going to work for me. Maybe this isn't. You just have to align with someone who had that same thought process but battled their way through it and are showing success now. And then copy what they're doing. Don't reinvent the wheel. There's time to reinvent the wheel. There's people that do some awesome custom ads with Logan and they have great success. But at the beginning, just follow what a lot of people are doing for success, and then be a pioneer, and then start wedging your own path and sharing how you're doing it. But let's just get you set up. So let's just get you the next step. Let's get you some good running ads. So reach out and we'll do that for you. Any questions as we log out? No, we're good.
Pretty straightforward. So reach out to the last person that texted you. And if you haven't got a text, most likely you haven't set up the trial. So the first thing you're gonna do is reach out to the last person that texted you. If you haven't set up a split test, send them the address or zip code that comes to mind. You know, there are some weird areas. Sometimes if you drop a pin somewhere, you're in a couple states or 3 states in the case of Washington, D.C. So we have to work with you a little bit. So send them that zip code or address. We'll work with you on setting the split test, and we'll set up a one-on-one Zoom meeting with you shortly after. Sound good? Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for coming.